And there's Billy Mason's Westminster School power off the start.
And it's the first time the Westminster crew has steered on this side. St Paul's likewise haven't spent much time on the Buck station, so both coxes slightly new to their surroundings, as we see the St Paul's crew coming slightly off their station, slightly wide on the island. Let's hope they can keep a straight line now as they come up towards the top and maybe feel a bit of that wind.
Well, it's Paul's who have got the lead, and the favourites in this race, in fact throughout the regatta, have been the men in pink from Westminster School. And they have won the school's head, they have won the national schools, where St Paul's finished second on both occasions. St Paul's haven't beaten this crew. St Paul's Bobby Thatcher, their coach, was telling me they have lost year on year J40s, J50s, J60s to the Westminster School. He told me that these men you're looking at now, they want to beat Westminster more than they want a British junior vest at the World Championships this year.
That's right, and Marco Hughes in the stroke seat taking that look to his right and seeing that they've started to move on the Westminster crew. They've taken a few men, they've moved up, it could even be half a length. That's a fantastic start by Bobby Thatcher's crew from St Paul's.
And we talk about those two coaches. I couldn't say it at the start, but there's a lot of look at Marco Hughes, the St Paul's stroke. St Paul's, coached by Bobby Thatcher, real working class rower, came in from Quinton Rowing Club, not from public school or anything like that, and Bill Mason, Thames Tradesman Rowing Club, and now these two men are coaching these boys from private schools, and it's a match-up between Paul's and Westminster, but also it's a match-up between the boys of Bobby Thatcher from St Paul's and the boys of Westminster, Billy Mason.
That's right. I think the St Paul's boys will have another interesting match-up, which is that Bobby Thatcher's also brought Donald Leggett in, who might not fit quite the same demographic in terms of his style of coaching, style of working with boys, but he's been a fantastic coach to Cambridge, to Radley, and now he's been working with the St Paul's crew as well. And he's a real experienced guy here at Henley, and the St Paul's crew looking very well drilled.
See those little looks across we've been used to from Marco Hughes, and Bobby Thatcher said we did the emotional bit with the St Paul's School crew last night. We tried to get that out today. I just want clear, cool, clinical. And, you know, you haven't beaten this Westminster crew at all in your rowing career. This is where it happens, he told them.
And that Westminster crew, they're really looking quite calm still, despite the fact they're half a length down. It looks to me like they've settled into a rhythm. They know this is going to be a long race. They know there's the headwind. They know it's more than 2,000 metres. And I should imagine if I was in the St Paul's crew, if I was Bobby, I'd be nervous now that they haven't managed to break the Westminster crew.
That's a great shout, Greg, because I watched these two crews battle it out over the school's head course. And Westminster went off very, very quickly, but St Paul's went out quickly, but Westminster took it on the second half of that long school's head course on the Tideway River down in the Thames near Putney. They do have a second half, and Greg, Billy Mason trains these boys not in the 8 but in pairs, head to head against each other, so they've got grit and determination, and this is where they need it.
It's like you say, that sort of healthy competition will have been going on for these boys since they were 14 years old, racing against each other in training, practicing for this day when they could come and race the Prince Elizabeth Cup at Henley. St Paul's, though, I think have responded pretty well here, and to me they might have moved out again on this Westminster crew we see here, trying to keep their length, trying to keep their composure. You see the number 2's gone up there, that signals the crew on the Buck stations ahead, and now that number 1 just overlapping shows the two crews are still just in contact.
So call it now, Greg. Who's going to win this race?
Well, the St Paul's crew now have got that little bit of clear water. I think it's going to be very, very hard for Westminster to come back. I thought Westminster had held it, but St Paul's now powering on as we see this lovely shot. I think if I had to call it, Martin, I'd be calling St Paul's School, I'd be calling Bobby Thatcher, I'd be calling Donald Leggett.
So St Paul's School, they have been getting better and better throughout the year. Matthew Pinson has told the St Paul's Scots, Vlad Saigu, to move over. He is doing the right thing. He's sending puddles down to wash the Westminster School down. There's gamesmanship for you. And why not? Because Westminster have been ahead of St Paul's all through their rowing lives.
And both these crews row on the Tideway, they row on the Oxford and Cambridge course that we see so often. So they know the idea of steering, they know the idea of possibly pushing it, trying to send the weight down, trying to set the puddles down. Make sure Westminster know they are out of this. Send the puddles down, make their life as difficult as they possibly can. Matthew Pinson's had the flag out. The St Paul's School Cox has responded, got back towards his station, and he's done enough to disturb Westminster, but not enough to upset the umpire.
And it looks like St Paul's are going away, and there's the packed grandstand, and my mind goes back to the Olympics in 2000, where Bobby Thatcher, some cruelly say the coach of the St Paul's 8, was denied the bow seat in the British 8 that took gold in that Olympics. He took a decade to get over it. Could this be his redemption, Greg?
Yeah, I'm sure Bobby Thatcher piles all of his enthusiasm, all of his energy, all of his determination into his coaching now, and I'm so proud for him to see this crew rowing so well, rowing so long and so aggressively. It's everything you expected from Bobby when he was competing in his crew, and not letting him down, and they're not letting themselves down.
Great technique from the St Paul's School crew. They have never beaten the men behind them from Westminster School, never ever throughout their rowing career.
Yeah, and the barman, James Plott there from the Westminster crew, has to take a long look over his shoulder. That's not a view he's going to want to see. They know now they've got less than 2 minutes to go as they come into the enclosure and they hear the roar. It's the St Paul's Cox looking over his shoulder. He's got the view he wants. He knows he's in front. He knows his boys have got to keep going for another minute or so, and the race will be theirs.
The script here was that the men in pink would come and win the triple, the school's head, the national schools, and crown it with a win in the Princess Elizabeth Cup at Henley. St Paul's School had other ideas. Bobby Thatcher has crafted expertly his crew. They've got better and better through the season, and Bobby Thatcher said better and better through this regatta. And it's his men, as the water flattens out, who's rowed to the finish just another few strokes for a famous, famous victory. The underdogs have overturned the favourites, and you will hear the cheer to end all cheers as St Paul's School cross the line at the finish. There they go. The Princess Elizabeth Cup is yours. Well done, Pauls and Bobby Thatcher.
You can see what it means to these boys. You will remember this for the rest of your lives. There's not many wins, there's not many feelings as good as this one. They've grown up together, they've had their lessons together, they've worked so hard on the rowing machines, the gym, the running, the times on the tideway when it's wet, when it's cold, when it's miserable. This is what it's all worth. This is what it's all for. Those St Paul's boys will be very proud. The Westminster guys, I'm sorry they're going to be hurting.
Oh my God, I feel for Billy Mason. You know, this was going to be a great Henley for him and the St Paul's boys, and absolutely the 5-man in the Westminster 8.
Matthew has waved the red flag.
He's not going to disqualify St Paul's.
We're going to have to take a moment here.
Oh my God, he's not going to disqualify St Paul's.
This is going to be quite a moment.
This is going to be massive news, because if he disqualifies St Paul's, I think the steering
does he need someone to put a hand up in the Westminster boat?
That's a good shout. He's saying,
is this like cricket
object.
where you have to
He's
have an
saying,
appeal?
is he inviting them to object, and is he going to disqualify St Paul's Sport and Bobby Thatcher? The Bobby Thatcher crew, they think they've still won.
They still think they've won. There's a
Matthew Pinson is coming over.
Done anything that we're
None
sure
of them
now.
have objected. Is he offering them the chance to object, and then will he disqualify the St Paul's School
I don't
crew?
think he should be disqualifying them. From what I've seen, my opinion is that the St Paul's crew didn't do anything that I think was out of order, that materially affected
I've never
result
seen
of that
anything
race.
like that. I mean, the tension, I just can't understand. I can't imagine what it'll be like for those boys if they think they've won. Is he going to raise the white flag? Yes!
The white flag goes up.
What was that all about? Do you think he was waiting for an objection from the Westminster crew?
Impossible to know. The only way we can find out will be with a little conversation with Matthew later.
Oh my
All that
God.
goes in the record book is that St Paul's denied Westminster the triple, and St Paul's names, not just the name of the school, but all those 9 boys' names will get etched on the Princess Elizabeth Cup forevermore.